Hi everybody. I have a video called The Awakening. The Awakening. So take a peek at that. On that video, I talk about when I came awake, when I started really realizing where I was and what was going on, and it just was a moment that finally, when I was ready and I was able to, and enough bad stuff had happened that I could finally see it. And it was this profound moment when I just, I was asked a question and I just went, it came to me. I was like, I saw it all. I saw everything like it was. But in that moment, and it was a very sad moment, but also a very empowering moment. And my life was never the same again. I was not a victim anymore from that moment on. I saw the truth. I couldn't ever unsee it again. I was subsequently able to fix my life. I was able to help myself. Until that happened, I couldn't help myself. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what the problem was. I was completely blindsided every day. I mean, everything seemed so random and like it was just coming out of nowhere every day. I couldn't anticipate anything. Once I started to see things as they were, rather than as I wanted them to be, because nothing was making sense when I was counting on life to be what I wanted it to be. So what I wanted it to be is I wanted to have this loving family. I wanted to have a husband who loved me. I wanted to have people around me that cared about me, cared about my kids, loved my kids. I wanted to feel like I was safe, that I was around people with intact conscience, that had empathy. I believed that I was with people that were like me, that were, that thought like I did, and were in a relationship the same way that I was in relationship with them. And it just wasn't. It never was. There were these lopsided relationships from the beginning and always would be forever. Once I saw the truth, which was a huge undertaking because this was a lifelong lie that had been layered and layered, told to me from birth. And it took a lot to unravel that. And I was in up to my neck in things that most people would have gotten away from years earlier. So I was really, really vulnerable. And unfortunately, that also left my kids in harm's way as well. And so I didn't do a good job of protecting my kids in time to save them from a lot of this. By not thinking strategically, not being able to come to grips with the fact that that their father was a sociopath, that he was someone that I had to protect them from, and that I wasn't going to be helped by our family because they were narcissists. Once I was able to come to grips with all of that, I was able to help myself and help us and keep us safe. Keep us safer. But that took years in coming. So for years, I was putting trust where I shouldn't have, believing people were going to do the right thing, not protecting myself from the people in our family, from my husband, because I thought they loved us and we didn't need to protect ourselves. So it was only after being beaten around and betrayed and abandoned and betrayed again and cheated and stolen from and lied to and lied about, and for years, until I was just, my life was unraveled. Came out of a divorce that was, my ex-husband and I were like, it was like we had come from two different, there was no way that you would ever believe had been in the same marriage. There was nothing fair and equitable about it, He leaves and gets a house bigger than any house we ever lived in together, has sports cars and the business, and he's just doing great. He's got all the friends, all the family, all the everything, all of our assets, all of our friends, all of everybody. And I am like barely, I have no money, I have no home, I have no business, I have no friends, I have no family, I have nothing. It was just crazy. But there was the day came when I said, I will not go any lower. This is it. And I'm proud to say that I didn't go any lower from that point forward. So what happened actually is I put this program in place in my life, and over the course in say 2005 or 6, And so by 2010, my life was completely different. I had completely turned it around. I had a thriving business of my own, and I had bought a house, and I had a new car, and I had friends, and I had a new fiance, and I had things were going well, but I didn't have. I had a shared custody arrangement with my kids by agreement, because see, he had, when I was really down and out, got to a place where I had to ask him to help me with the kids, and so he took advantage of that and got legal custody of them. And then for a short time, actually, with him more than me, for about a year. And then after that, I was just on an agreement with him that he would let me go ahead and raise them. I would have them at least half time, but we didn't have to tell anybody, and he didn't have to pay me any child support. We'd just keep it very quiet, and he could still have all the power and the control and all the money. I just would get a chance to be my kid's mom. So this was the kind of deal I had to strike with him. And he did it because he had a new girlfriend at the time, and he didn't want to raise the kids. All he wanted was the power and the control anyways. So he was basically able to think of me as a servant or a babysitter or something, and he got all the power and the control, and I got to do the work. So, but then when he got engaged to this woman, she decided she wanted me out of the picture again, and also they were at this point a little bored because they'd already done my nasty divorce, and then they'd already done her nasty divorce. So it was my turn to, they needed to get a little chaos, a little narcissistic supply. So they decided to go for taking the kids away from me. But see, they hadn't been paying attention. So while I'd been working on myself and embracing reality all this time, they were still back in the way things were, because they don't change. They hadn't paid any attention to the fact that I was a different person, that I wasn't going to be as easily just bowled over as I was the time before. So they just came out blazing, guns blazing, doing the exact same thing that he had done back in 2002 and 3. It was nasty, and it took us a year, and the boys were changed, and it was very, very devastating. But it was expensive, and it was horrible. But he didn't win. He didn't win a single battle. Every single thing that he came out saying, I disproved. He had no successes at all in it, and never got the upper hand once. Family court is built for narcissists. It's built for people with personality disorders. It's built for the lowest common denominator and people without any character. If you are a person that wants to just come in and lie about people, then it's the place for you. I was completely not built for it, but they were. My ex and his wife now, they completely built for it. They have no, because they're, pathological liars, and there's no big penalty for lying. You can just come in and lie all you want, and then it's up to the person to defend themselves. And when they do, when they do prove you're a liar, no, it doesn't really matter. So you just keep going. And I always felt like I was tainted regardless. So it's just, it was very strange, very, very strange. Quite different than criminal court, which I have been through too. And that was a completely different ballgame. But family court is just really, it's just the ugliest place in the world. And it does nothing to protect children. It's a place where it's all about egos, and in my experience, it was all about people claiming to care about kids. Everybody's saying they care about the kids, and really no one does. I obviously did, but I couldn't see how the judge could say that they did, how the guardian ad litem could say they did, how the lawyers could say they did for certain. Even most of the psychologists, the kids' psychologists, there was, the vast majority didn't. But, fortunately, a few did. Because there were things that happened that if you really cared about the kids, you would just have ended the whole thing. For instance, some of the things that he came out just saying about me right off the bat, were really brutal, and he did things. He violated court orders. He did things right off the bat, and came out lying, and was proven to be lying right off the bat. And I expected that the judge was just going to say, you know, no, shame on you. These kids have been through enough, and this woman has been through enough, and you came out lying and whatever, and you're not going to get away with that anymore. You put these people through enough. So, no, we're not going to stay in conflict and chaos. These kids need peace. Stop it. That's what I thought they would do, but they didn't. It was like they just instigated, and they kept it going. They didn't make him stop doing it, and so it drug on and on and on. And he never won a single battle, but still it drug on and on and on. And the kids were really, they were both suicidal by the time it was over. And my son, my oldest son, had done heroin already by the time it was over. If it's not obvious, I definitely hold my ex-husband very responsible. He is the primary person responsible for my son's death, in my opinion. I will just always believe that, you know, because he refused to listen to him, and my son was suicidal. The psychologists were saying, you know, please stop this thing. This kid is going to kill himself. He's not going to make it through this thing. I was begging and begging him to stop. Please, can we just have some peace? Please let the kids live where they want to live. Please just stop doing this. And he would not stop doing it. He didn't seem to care if our kids, both of them, ended up dead. He didn't seem to care. And so now that he is dead, we won. You know, we won what? We won the kids their freedom to not have to be forced to go live there. I am convinced that if they had been forced to live there, that neither one of them would have made it past, you know, their teenage years. And as it was, my oldest son made it, but he was struggling, and he had a reckless personality, and he had a drug habit, and he didn't have to have that. And you know, he was almost dared, you know, like, you know, see if you can make it through this without having a drug problem. See if you could survive this. You know, that's basically what I felt like his dad did to him. And I need to say that. Because, you know, no one knows that. No one, you know, he's over there getting lots of sympathy and lots of attention for you know, being the grieving father of a son who died from a drug overdose, and, you know, acting like it happened in a vacuum, acting like it's, you know, all Noah's fault because all Noah and the drugs, and probably even blaming it on me and this, you know, whole fake drug thing he was saying about me, you know, back in the day. You know, but acting like, you know, his hands are clean and that all he ever wanted was the best for the kids, which was just completely BS. You know, he is a card-carrying sociopath, and I, you know, I didn't know what that meant at the time when I got that diagnosis. He showed me what it meant. He gave me an education, and now I am an advocate. I am an advocate for you know, protecting kids who have disordered parents. And because, you know, I loved my kids, and I would do anything for them. What I could do, the experience I was going to have as a mother, sharing kids with a sociopath in a narcissistic family, was not, you know, my chances of being able to have the experience of motherhood and was not at all what I expected. You know, my kids have been kept in crisis mode most of their lives. I will never get to know what my kids would have been like outside of living in a crisis. You know, who would they have been had they just been able to develop in peace, in harmony with, you know, loving parents and a secure world around them? Who would they have been? I don't know.